Hello everyone, I just thought I might make a quick channel update to keep you abreast of what's going to be happening on the channel in the near future. Mostly everything else, like everything that's going on right now on the channel is going to stay the same. Unless I say something is going to change, it's probably not going to change. However, some things are going to change. So for the first one, in addition to staring at maps, I also think at some point we'll be taking a trip to the skies with IL-2 Sturmovik Battle for Stalingrad. It's a very good World War II dogfighting simulator. Also, you can fly bombers and I believe pilot or drive some tanks through dynamically generated campaigns, which we'll probably play them in such a way that we'll end the campaign whenever our pilot dies or gets captured, and then maybe swap sides. The planes and the equipment present are only Soviet equipment and German equipment, because, you know, it's all set around the battle for Stalingrad. But I think it's going to be very exciting. And I'm going to figure out a way to make it, you know, not too nauseating, because I'm using a track IR thing, which you can probably see in the footage I'm rolling right now, where I can move my head in order to look around and have like full 6 degrees of freedom. Yeah, we're going to deal with that whenever we actually start making that series. In addition to taking us into the skies, I would also like to take us underwater, with Silent Hunter 5 and the Wolves of Steel mod pack. This mod pack goes to great lengths to improve the immersion and the various game mechanics of an already amazingly immersive German U-boat simulator for the Second World War. We'll be sinking shipping, boarding destroyers, and generally sort of learning more about naval warfare in World War II. And I think it's going to be very exciting. We can do a ton of like weird shit, like you can even decrypt Enigma messages sent by German Naval High Command, like the Kriegsmarine, and all that kind of stuff. The degree of simulation can get absurd, and there's probably going to be some navigation, some maths and stuff, and I'm going to mess it up real bad. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I really like that game. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I'm a very big fan of emergent storytelling. And what generally ties together pretty much every single game I've played so far on the channel, and most of the games I really like to enjoy playing nowadays, is the fact that they all contain deep mechanics that all work together to create some sort of emergent narrative. With Kaiserreich, it's generally the, you know, chaotic and just absurdly deep jungle of events that kind of does it. With games like IL-2 Sturmovik, it's the dynamic campaign and the things that happen through it. Silent Hunter 5, it's very similar. This one, however, is a very different game from all those. It is not historical. This one is science fiction and post-apocalyptic. It's a roguelike of sorts called Cataclysm: Dark Days Ahead. You try to survive in an absurdly like wild world where, you know, the zombie apocalypse has struck, civilization is dying, all kinds of weird science was done, there's bionics, there's, you know, robots running around, there's mutants, there's all kinds of wacky shit, and we have to try to like understand this kind of obtuse and arcane game while also trying to survive against a world that generally does not want us to live. We have to contend with monsters, survivors, zombies, the elements, our own psyche, and so much more. The game has extremely deep simulatory mechanics, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That one is probably going to be the one we're going to be seeing first. Finally, a little bit later, I would like to take a trip into the true masterclass of emergent storytelling. And that is, of course, Dwarf Fortress. This game is actually so good that it earned an exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art in New York because of how well it does the emergent storytelling thing. And also because of how strangely unique this game really is. It's one of those games like that everyone talks about, and the stories that people tell are generally batshit insane. There's a story about cats dying of alcohol poisoning because the dev accidentally added a feature which accidentally made cats drink a lot of alcohol. They clean themselves with their tongue. If they get alcohol on their paws, they clean their paws with their tongue. When alcohol gets on their tongue, it gets ingested. Cats have small livers, they die of alcohol poisoning. It's a very strange game. It's got extremely deep mechanics, like pretty much all of the ones I mentioned here. And it is kind of hard to get into. But that's okay, because I will try to use my many years of experience to ease us into the experience. I'll also be using every sort of tool and mechanism available to me to make the game more watchable and easier to digest. There's going to be a 3D visualizer, and I'm going to use an interface for assigning jobs to the dwarves of our fortress, which we will be running, and I will be using various other interface mods to basically keep you abreast of the events of the fortress and the characters that we will, see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We can name the dwarves after people who watch the videos, and we can dive deep into the lore of the randomly generated world with a randomly generated history made by randomly generated creatures, historical characters. And then watch as this randomly generated world creates new history of its own as we play. This game inspired RimWorld. It inspired all games like it. Probably Prison Architect. And much, much more. Yeah, that's about it. It's going to be some roguelikes, some simulation games in the near future. And don't expect these videos to come out immediately. But when they do, if you want to see more kind of that, that kind of like variety content, then please show it some support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.